which Mike Silver talks about in his article. And good morning, Mike. It is wonderful to have you. As we bring you in, let's all listen to Charvarius Mooney Ward talking about all the names of his siblings.
I'm Charvarius. My name is Mooney, obviously. I got a brother named Charvon. His nickname is Nook. I got a brother named Bruvarius. His nickname is Stank. A sister named Bruvandra. Her nickname is Muffin. And a sister named Carnichus, and her nickname is Tweety. And my two younger brothers that she adopted, one of them named Gabriel Bullock, and his nickname is DJ. He don't have a D in his first name, but we just had to give him a nickname, something simple, so we gave him DJ. And the other one is Michael Sean Bullock, and his nickname is Brubber. We just call him Brubber because he like the homie. He like everybody homie, so we call him Brubber.
You got all that, Mike? There'll be a test on this in about 6 minutes.
I figured out how to spell Charvarius, but Juszczyk, I still have to look up. As good a player as Juice is, and as much as I've written about him for a decade, that one's tough. But yeah, the Ward family, they're not making it easy.
No, and I love the fact that Gabriel, he was adopted. He needed a nickname, something easy, so we just gave him DJ, even though he doesn't have a D in his name. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like nicknames are like the only way out of it for the outsider. But Mooney is money, and I think a lot of us, when we saw that they signed him to a 3-year, $42 million deal at the start of free agency, thought it was like a lot of early in free agency deals where for some reason the guy's free. That means his team really isn't freaking out about losing him, or something's happened, and you're basically overpaying to get the best guy who's actually free. But he is a much, much better player so far this year than he was those first 4 years, and he was good those first 4 years.
So how does life change for him, though, with Emmanuel Mosley out? Like the defense as a whole, it feels like suddenly, Ward is now even more on an island. What is the 49ers' plan here?
Yeah, I don't think it changes for him at all, and I think, they are much better equipped to survive it because of him than if it had happened a year ago. So he's still the number one guy. He's still the lockdown guy. He'll still, have less help and probably, be taking on the opponent's best. But, you're better equipped to survive that when you have that in general. Same thing with Jimmy Ward being out. They just have more, your secondary is just in a much better position. So, if Jason Verrett somehow is back and healthy and looking like Jason Verrett, that would be a huge win. That would be the easiest. If that doesn't happen, and I think people who have followed his travails over the last few years would think that's a distinct possibility. They drafted Sammy Womack. He looked really good in the preseason. They've got Ambry Thomas. They've got Jonte Johnson potentially coming back from the practice squad. They've got Lamore, who's done a nice job. As a nickel guy. So they'll mix and match. It's not going to be as good as it would have been with Mosley, but I do think they're pretty equipped to survive it.
It's a bit of a chicken and the egg question, but is the secondary playing so well because the pass rush has been great, or is the pass rush great because the secondary has been covering so well?
Yeah, I mean, they work together, and so if you think back to 2019 when the defense was so good, the pass rush was the driving force, and the secondary kind of, benefited from it and was good. But this is the first time in the Lynch-Shanahan era that I think, you could say the secondary potentially is elite as well. And obviously the linebackers are great, too. But, with Tayshaun Gibson's really, really been good. Hufanga's been a revelation. That's huge. Jimmy Ward, hopefully, before all is said and done, can give them some more punch. And then, you've got a real lockdown corner. And they had Richard Sherman in 2019, who's one of the greats of this era, but was, on the downside, still very, very good in 2019. But, Ward is theoretically ascending. So it's exciting. But, yeah, obviously, with less time to throw, then the DBs have more chances, and with better coverage, the defensive linemen have more opportunity to get to the quarterback. So it all goes hand in hand.
Mike Silver joins us every Thursday here on Willard and Dibbs, 95.7 The Game. All right, Mike, this is a conversation I want to have after Jeff Wilson came on our station yesterday and really talked up Jimmy Garoppolo, and you'd expect nothing less from a teammate. But this is something I'm really starting to think about, and I wonder what your perspective is. Everything we know, and this is no slight on any particular player because we get the context of what's happened, but everything we now know as of today, 2022, do you believe that if we went back a year and a half, the 49ers would play their quarterback situation the same way?
Well, I know that if we went back to the immediate aftermath of Super Bowl 54, they would play Tom Brady a different way. They would try very hard to sign him, and I think he would have been amenable to that, knowing what they know now about Tom Brady. So that's the first thing. That's a question that's bigger than Jimmy Garoppolo. I think knowing what we know now, it's possible they don't trade the 3-1s, and or it's possible they choose differently. I don't know. But Trey Lance still has a lot of potential. That could end up being a great thing. But, it obviously hasn't gone exactly the way they planned from that trade on. They took Trey Lance. They gave him the year. Jimmy was, looked dead in the water last year, rallied with injuries, almost went to the Super Bowl. And then the plan clearly, as enunciated by them, was, okay, Jimmy's gone, it's all Trey. And for them to bring him back, right before the start of the season, told you that the plan had not gone exactly the way that it should. So more important, where are we now? Well, let's say this year goes well, but doesn't end up in a championship. I think Jimmy Garoppolo will almost certainly be gone after the season. He will have the power to control his own destiny and make the 49ers do it on his terms. I think, on both sides, barring the Super Bowl championship, in my opinion, he'll probably be gone. So you've got Trey Lance coming back from an injury. That can't be your only plan, and it won't be. They will have some other option, a veteran, somebody. They will have some other option heading into next year. And if it goes amazingly well for Jimmy Garoppolo and the Niners this year, then maybe they will want him back badly, but he will have unrestricted free agency. They will have no ability to tag him. And unlike in past years where they can poke around and then make him wait, he'll be the one who has free agency and can make them wait as their options dissipate. So it's a fascinating dynamic.
Especially if he plays as well as you're describing, to where he gets into late January and February, because then his price tag would not be amenable to them signing him. Is there a comfortability, though, with Jimmy and Kyle Shanahan that maybe ultimately might sway him to stay, and it might change their overall course?
No, I don't think anything is swaying Jimmy to stay with the team that traded 3-1s to get his successor after trying to get Stafford and Rodgers. He got them to the NFC Championship game while hurt, and then they were like, bye, see ya, and then kind of groveled to get him back, and now he's coming in to save the day. I don't think Jimmy's just going to be like, man, if there's anything I can do to make it work for you guys, can I sign early? Can I give you guys a better deal? Like, no, I do not think that would happen. But I do think it's possible that if they won the Super Bowl this year, that they could come so hard and Jimmy could enjoy the process so much that he might ultimately decide to do that. But the notion that he's just like, oh, man, Kyle, I know you tried to dump me, but I just can't quit you, man. That is not happening, nor should it. And,
right.
Whatever. We all make decisions. We all made big judgments. Kyle's made a lot of good decisions. In this column I wrote in today's Chronicle about Charvarius Ward, which was maybe the best move of the offseason, I detail many of the not-so-great decisions that the Clint Shanahan regime have made, and that's a whole other conversation. But I don't think these are, Kyle clearly wanted to get rid of him, and that's, again, like, he had his reasons, but Jimmy's got his reasons for being like, okay, cool, how you like me now, let's go.
You know what, Mike? I mean, listening to you, it sounds like, and maybe they're not likely, but it sounds to me like you're saying there are scenarios that exist that would lead to Trey Lance's future not being here. Is that what you feel?
No, I mean, again, if we go back to the Jimmy just won the Super Bowl scenario, then maybe. But barring that, I think that's not what I would suggest. I would suggest that they've got him on a rookie deal. They really don't know. And he's coming off a serious injury, Dak Prescott-like injury from a couple of years back. But the Cowboys knew what they had in Dak Prescott. The 49ers don't know. So you want, while he's on this rookie deal and you've invested so much into him and you traded 3-1s and he's a young guy and he's really smart and he's got all this potential, you want to see, starting as soon as he's healthy, in the offseason, what he's got and if he can grow. But if that's your only plan, which it was going into this season until the Jimmy Hail Mary at the end, if you go into next season and that's your only plan, then you are not doing football right. You can't count on it, both health-wise and in terms of what you've seen, which obviously is not enough, or you wouldn't have brought Jimmy back. You better have option B, whether it's a Matt Ryan type, or, by the way, maybe you love Brock Purdy enough at that point, which is going to freak people out. But
quarterback competition.
You gotta have a plan. You better have a plan B, especially with a veteran team built to win now that's so good. You better have a plan B, and that doesn't mean you're definitely giving up on Trey Lance, but he might have to beat out someone good. I don't know.
Man,
really good stuff.
Competition.
Yeah, really good stuff, Mike. And the article on Charvarius Ward, I found it to be excellent. And
Mooney,
Mooney. So I guess that's we got to call him Mooney. Mooney time. Anytime he makes a pick, that's going to be the new champ. But thanks, man. Great to talk to you always.
Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate you guys.
All right.